dehumidifier, and this is a sort of a new piece of my repertoire, if you will. I don't know, none of that makes sense. It sounds stupid. I've already recorded this 20 times. I'm not going to stop and start again. But I decided since maybe 2016 or 17, I've been keeping track of the purchases I've made and what record stores I visited and what date and all that stuff. So I just was thinking about it recently and decided, like, you know, I've enjoyed talking about all these other record stores I've visited in the last couple of months. And I just decided I would go back, I would rewind, hence the title, and pull out some of the other visits from years past and kind of talk about those record stores and my visits to those as well. So this is the first version of that, and we're going to today talk about a record store in Billings, Montana that I went to in August 2019. It's called Smiling Dog Records. I was working there in Billings, Montana, and looked up to see if there was a record store in town, and sure enough, this place was only maybe 2 blocks away from where I was staying. Really cool record store. They have this like Kiss mural on the outside. The owner was really cool, pretty mellow, and they had a lot of vinyl, a lot of used CDs. My visit here to Smiling Dog on this day in August 2019, I just went with some used CDs. So let's see what I got. From 1987, we get self-titled Jane's Addiction, which is a live record. They recorded this live, I think mostly at the Roxy in Hollywood. I did not know this was a live record when I picked it up. I thought it was just maybe one of their first records, and I looked at the track listing and I was like, oh, sounds pretty good. Then I realized after the fact it was a live record. If I knew it was a live record, I don't know that I would have picked it up. I'm not that big of a fan of Jane's Addiction. I could think of a handful of songs by them that I like. And I don't know, this might be the only Jane's Addiction CD I have. Maybe I have one other one. But, you know, it's all right. The prices there at Smiling Dog were really good. I mean, I'm going to guess this was maybe $4, you know. I would imagine all these used CDs I picked up there were probably in that range. The interesting thing on this is they do a cover of the Velvet Underground Rock and Roll, and they do a cover of the Rolling Stones Sympathy for the Devil. But other than that, you know, Jane Says is on here, which is one of the tunes that I really like by them. But again, like I said, I think if I knew this was a live record, I should have checked, but I didn't. And had I known that, I don't know if I would have picked that up. From 2004, we get Tegan and Sara and So Jealous. And speaking of things I wouldn't have picked up, turns out I bought this there. It's a great record. I had gotten back in 2000, maybe 5, a friend of mine who I worked with gave me a burned copy of this. I really liked it. I first heard the song Speak Slow when I worked in New York. I'd go into work at like maybe 3 or 4 o'clock, and I would always put on the internet and listen to the station out of Los Angeles back then, the Indie 103. And they played Speak Slow, and they played like a lot of new wave and alternative and stuff like that, and punk music or whatever. Great station. And I remember hearing Speak Slow, and I never heard it before. I didn't know of this band really, and I think the first time I heard it, I thought it was Missing Persons. It just sounded like an old new wave song. But the friend of mine gave me a burned copy of this record, and I really liked it. And when I was there at Smiling Dog, I saw it and picked it up, and subsequently went home and realized I already had it. I had bought it. I don't know what I was thinking. I think you may have heard me say I now have an app on my phone that keeps track of all the music I have. And this incident might have been what made me go out and get that app, because it had happened once or twice before, and I was just like, I can't let that happen again. Although it happened not too long ago when I was in Louisiana with a Circle Jerks CD. But I think that's why I picked up that app, so I could keep track of it, so I wouldn't do this again. But again, this is a great record. Just kind of like, I feel like Tegan and Sara now have kind of like veered off into more dance, top 40 pop stuff, and this stuff definitely has that kind of vibe to it, at least top 40 kind of pop stuff. But I think here you're still thinking of them as kind of like an alternative band or whatever. But this is a really, really good record. Like I mentioned, Speak Slow is really awesome on here. So Jealous is good. Walking with a Ghost, You Wouldn't Like Me. A lot of good tracks on here. It's a good record. As a matter of fact, this is my spare copy. If you're looking for this CD or you want to try it, reach out to me. And, you know, if I still have it, I'd probably be willing to just send it to you because it's just sitting around collecting dust anyways. 1994, we get Beck and Mellow Gold. I don't know if this is his debut. I know it's like his major label debut, but I feel like he maybe had some stuff before this. Maybe I'm wrong, but you know, obviously this is the album that kind of introduced him to, you know, the mainstream and most of the general public because of the song Loser that was huge on MTV. And I have a lot of Beck CDs. I probably have 5 or 6 of them that I've picked up over the years, and I like them quite a bit. But I don't know why I just never got around picking this one up. So when I saw it there in Smiling Dog, I was like, you know, it's about time. I got to grab this one, you know. And I can't honestly remember if I've given this a really good listen. I'm sure I listened to it when I came back, or even when I was still out there in Billings, threw it in the computer and listened to it. But you know, none of it's really jumping out at me. But, you know, I do that a lot. I sometimes go away and I pick up a bunch of CDs on the road, and then I come home and a lot of them just, you know, stack up in piles, and I just slowly kind of work my way through it. And this is certainly falling under that category of something I really have to go and, you know, pop it in and just really give it a good listen, because I'm really not that familiar with this album at all other than Loser. And, you know, because I'm such a fan of a lot of his other stuff, it'd be worth really kind of finally getting around and putting this in and checking it out. I mean, it's only been 3 years, right? From 1996, we get the Butthole Surfers and Electric Larryland. This was pretty popular back in the summer of 1996 because of the song Pepper. That got a lot of play on MTV, a lot of alternative radio picked it up. And, you know, these guys have been around for a long time. I got a handful of CDs by them. They're a really good band, kind of eclectic, kind of weirder stuff, you know, but certainly fall under that category of like alternative. I think they kind of came up, I feel like the Replacements or REM were sort of like their peers when they were starting out. But the funny thing is, I picked this up at Smiling Dog. I had this CD already. I bought it somewhere else. It was used, and when I got home and opened it up, the booklet was all like warped together, like the pages were all stuck together, and it always pissed me off. And I always was like, if I find this somewhere else really cheap, I'm gonna buy another copy of it, which maybe sounds kind of ridiculous, but you know, whatever. So when I saw it there at Smiling Dog, and I just was like, all right, you know, I've been looking for another copy of that. This one I opened up, saw that everything was cool with it, so I picked it up and got rid of the other copy. The other track on here that I always really loved was Aha. I like that one a lot. Let's Talk About Cars, pretty good too. Good record. You know, this is one of those things that I like a lot of the tunes on it, but I'm not super familiar with what the names of the songs are. You know, that happens a lot these days. I think ever since the advent of the iPod, I think sometimes you just have the music playing, you don't even really know what the name of half of these songs are that you're listening to. But so that's it. That was my visit to Smiling Dog. Really, like I said, it was a really cool record store. I would definitely recommend popping in there if you're ever in that neighborhood and checking it out. So really appreciate you watching, and I'm gonna be doing these, you know, every now and then, a couple of these rewind videos talking about some of my previous visits to these different record stores that are spread out across America. You got to get out there when you're in these towns. Go visit these local record stores. You know, they really could use your business, and they're awesome to visit, and they got great stuff. You're always going to find some good stuff there. So thanks for watching. Please comment below if you've ever been to Smiling Dog. I'd love to hear your take on the place and maybe what some of the stuff you picked up there. And like and subscribe and all that stuff, and we'll see you next time.